If you come from a middle to upper class socioeconomic background and you struggle with what they call as middle class guilt or understanding what privilege really means, this video is for you. So I remember one time I posted a picture of my family and I at Idul Fitri, and an acquaintance of mine on Facebook commented on how my house looked like the house of a rich person. And well, I did grow up in privilege. I had opportunities that were given to me, not by my own hard work, but by the hard work of my parents. Now, there are other people who have had these things that they were born into that came from generation upon generation of opportunities. That is called generational wealth. But what I also had was generational wealth. And of course, these interactions were not comfortable because I was just posting a private family event, and someone commenting on the socioeconomic aspect of it makes it awkward. But what does being awkward really mean? Who loses anything of substance when such an interaction occurs? The person who commented was merely commenting out of a sense of a social gap from what they experienced and from what they perceive as what I experienced. I've discussed this before in my videos about those who speak English and speak Indonesian, and why there is the English divide, and why there is conflict. There is a conflict between English speakers and Indonesian speakers because of how they see English speakers. Now, other examples of this interaction would be someone saying, "Oh, lu mah enak, kalau gue mah," statements of comparison. I remember once I posted a picture of my great-grandmother, and someone commented, "Aren't you lucky to have pictures of your great-grandmother? My grandparents were just farmers. I didn't even know what they looked like." And I understood where these people were coming from. In terms of, social ethics, that was a bit awkward. But with common sense, even though it is awkward and it makes me uncomfortable, me being uncomfortable does not mean that I lose anything of substance. My discomfort is of no substance. I had this friend who I had a falling out with, and he said that one of the reasons was because he envied the opportunities that were given to me, and I am indeed privileged to have received those opportunities. But I was sad that we had to have a falling out because of that issue. But I understood that, even though it was not nice for them to break a relationship with me, where this person was coming from, it was very valid. It was very understandable. It's called class resentment. And class resentment stems from whatever divides exist between those who had to work very hard to get where they want to be, and those who didn't have to work very hard because somebody else worked hard for them. And you don't have to be like filthy fucking New Order rich to have this privilege. You can have it merely on the merit of being able-bodied, being healthy, and so on and so forth. But these comparisons, of course, if we're talking in the general sense, comparisons are never nice in general. So, in general, comparing is not nice. But when comparisons do occur, and if we understand that there's a question of privilege, comparison is a bit like a privilege that is afforded to the underprivileged. This privilege is afforded to the underprivileged because we understand that their discomfort actually does something. It does make a difference. It is something that is material. They miss out on a lot of opportunities. So we can say that if we're talking, so a lot of middle to upper class people, they have no understanding that these people are unable to achieve things that these people were born with. So let's say, for example, that the sheep represents people who are privileged, people who did not have to work hard. They still work, but they didn't have to work that hard on their own because they had some help. And the ostrich represents the people that had to work hard by themselves in order to get where they want. And they could very well be in the same position, but they didn't get there the same way. And that's what privilege is all about. Now, what a lot of middle to upper class people don't understand about that is it's not about mindset. You know, there was a video that went famous on TikTok recently about someone who thinks that people who are unable to get scholarships and things like that are people who are lazy, and that blaming the government is not productive. They should essentially blame their parents. I know they didn't mean that literally, but that's the situation. But I think what is missing, and what a lot of people have said, what is missing from this equation is a discussion of systemic poverty and privilege. It's not about mindset. It's not about working hard. This ostrich, of course, can very well work hard, much harder than the sheep did. Doesn't mean that the sheep didn't work hard, but they both start from a different position. And whether we like it or not, they will not be equitable. They will not be very much the same. So sometimes, very much like the expressions of, lumaen nak, gini, those are expressions of class resentment, which happens in society. It is, in a matter of speaking, a privilege afforded to those who are underprivileged as a form of them misu in expressing their systemic discomfort at being disadvantaged. Yes, sure, I understand that in terms of everyday social ethics, it's not polite, it's not nice. But if we look at it from a socioeconomic perspective, it is perfectly valid. Those who have the privilege don't lose anything if these people complain about their lot in life. For example, if I was uncomfortable at what someone that I know was saying about me, it would shake it up a little bit, but it would not take away this, because this enables me, all right, maybe my feelings might be hurt, I will be uncomfortable, but I will not lose my job, I will not lose my social position, I will not lose the privileges that have been afforded to me. But them, on the other hand, they live in a precarious situation. That's what being marginalized is all about. These people could very much lose their jobs, lose their social positions, with things that these people could get away with just by laying down. It doesn't make you any less valid than them. However, if we look at it from a material sense, there's a difference. So, middle to upper class people, let's do the world a favor by learning to shut the fuck up and understanding that no matter what we do, it's likely that we're gonna be all right. While a lot of the people out there, the ostriches, are gonna get fucked so hard up their asses. So use your privilege for good by at least shutting the fuck up.